So attunement is a big issue in attachment work and probably all of psychotherapeutic work. And so let's talk about how attunement goes wrong in childhood. So in a kind of more simple case, the child's perspectives, needs are not seen. So there's not this like marked mirroring list, like, oh, I see that you're upset, and okay, that's all right, then what can I do to help, and so forth. So that's like kind of less pathologenic experience of misattunement or non-attunement. But then there can also be kind of a more pathological, maybe even aggressive misattunement where the parent will put onto the child negative states. And so what does that mean? Or like an assumption of a negative intentional stance on the part of a child. So this is where like, okay, the child maybe gets upset, and then the parent interprets that as the child taking something away from the parents. Like, so in cases of narcissism, which I don't exactly like using that word, but like in the case of the parent being somewhat narcissistic, the the parent might understand the needs of the child as a threat and almost like an attack against the parent. And then sadly, the parent might respond to that with like a message, and this may or may not be explicit, of like, you're bad. When you present your needs, you're aggressing against me. And so this is, again, kind of like I would call this like a pathological misattunement that can kind of bring about this sense of like an alien self in the child where the child feels like, oh, I'm bad. And so that's obviously not just simply, oh, I've not been seen, I've not been attuned to, my experience hasn't been validated. No, it's like all the way to the level of like this kind of belief of my badness being taken in. And then also let me say that generally speaking, parents love their children, and even people with like a personality, parents with a personality disorder, I think generally love their children, but they're incapable of really meeting the child where they're at, and they end up kind of putting their needs and their projections and so forth on the child, which can cause a lot of problems later in life.